If you do not know who I am, my name is Jacob Hubbard, and I am a huge, gigantic, T-Rex-sized fan of the original film Jurassic Park. It is the reason why I love movies. That original movie I have seen over 300 times from my childhood to this day. It is my all-time favorite. It is the reason why I become a director one day, is because of Spielberg's direction in that movie. With a very underrated sequel, a third movie that is very cheesy bad. Jurassic World is a good reboot, good introduction to this new trilogy. Fallen Kingdom, everyone just seems to hate, and I almost pretty much agree. But today is the 6th conclusion finale to the Jurassic franchise. And all I can say is, sometimes you just gotta let it die. Jurassic World Dominion stars Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard and is about 4 years after the destruction of Isla Nublar. Dinosaurs now live and hunt alongside humans all over the world. Now, this was my most anticipated movie of the entire year. No other movie comes close to this movie because I am such a fan of that original movie. Anytime there's a Jurassic movie being released in theaters, I am there day one, and I'm going to be very picky about these movies because I'm such in love with that freaking first movie, guys. I love that movie. And walking in this movie tonight, IMAX packed theater. I have not spoken or heard anything about this movie. I sat down, and when that Universal logo came on, my nerves left my body, and I was like, okay, here we go. Beginning with my positives is the dinosaurs themselves. Out of the entire franchise, this is the most dinosaurs we've seen in one movie, and they're all freaking awesome if you ask me. All the new dinosaurs that we get are really cool, and I appreciate that we got to see some of the OG dinosaurs from the original movie. Our Dilophosaurus baby. It was so awesome to see the Dilophosaurus. I was so happy, and it was most, like 90% animatronic. A lot of these dinosaurs in this movie was animatronics, so all the puppeteers, all the animators, special effects people, congratulations. The movie looks beautiful with great cinematography, some amazing shots, especially early on and the third act. Cinematography wise, the look of the movie, it looks great. I mean, with this budget, Universal kind of stuff, it should be. Those animatronics, it was like the original. Every time you had to see a close-up, most of the time in this movie, it was animatronic. All the far-away shots were CGI, and the CGI looks pretty great if you ask me, especially when it comes to the special effects, the sound design. I am a huge Jurassic Park fan, so some of the sound design, little things make me happy. There's a scene where the car is about to tip over. When it does tip, the sound they use is the sound from the car falling out of the tree from the original movie. That is how much of a diehard fan I am. Just sound effects of that little of nature is so perfect. Little things like that makes me happy. So technically around this movie, very good job. Now we do get to see our 3 main leads from the original Jurassic Park, Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum. And I was a very happy little boy seeing them on screen again. Seeing Sam Neill as Alan Grant made me just happy. We've not seen him since 2001. Same for Laura Dern. When she came on screen, I was like, it's been a long time, and I'm very happy to see him again, and they're just like they were in the original movie, all 3 of them. Ellie, on the other hand, felt very important for this movie, especially for the plot line. She felt actually very important. Her and Jeff Goldblum, which I was worried they were going to make a Jeff Goldblum just comedy of him being Jeff Goldblum. No. He's Ian Malcolm. He does stuff in this movie. He's very important. He's almost the reason why Alan Grant and Ellie are in this movie. He is very important. He does stuff. I was like, that is Ian Malcolm, because I was worried they're going to make a comedy of just Jeff Goldblum just being Jeff Goldblum. And then, like I said, Alan Grant, was great to see him. But truly, there was no reason for him to be in this movie. They say the reason why he's in this movie, and when you watch it, you'll know why. But I sat there and I was like, you didn't need Alan Grant in this movie. I'm sorry. I love seeing him. It was great seeing him. But I was like, he didn't have to be in this movie. When it comes to our new cast, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard do return, and they're both very good. I mean, Chris Pratt is our badass Owen lead. Like, that's what he is. and that's what he does. He's good at it, and I enjoyed watching Chris Pratt, even though he is completely just triumphed by Bryce Dallas Howard as Claire. Claire has been a character this entire trilogy that she's been developing from this assistant bitch scientist into a badass in this movie. She does a lot of good stuff in this movie. She goes square up with some of these dinosaurs. There's one great, intense scene with her and a dinosaur involving water. Claire's a badass, and in this movie, seeing her development as a character was really cool to see. And we get to see them as parents in this movie as they're taking over the little clone girl, which... plotline, everyone knows no one likes the clone plotline, but I will say she does a good job in her performance, and this little family, you kind of feel like they're a family, which does involve a new character, DeWanda Wise, as this pilot. She's awesome. Every time she's on screen, it just feels like she's like ready to like punch a dinosaur and run off and jump off a cliff. The charismatic little things about her character in this movie, I want to see more of in future movies or whatever they want to do in this franchise. But DeWanda Wise was awesome in this movie. So really getting this new cast and the OG cast together, it really worked. I thought it was perfectly at the third act. Like, I like seeing them interact. It was cool. And I think a lot of the general audience is going to enjoy this movie. There is a ton of action. And I mean, like, literally 2.5 hours of just dinosaur mech. I do have a lot of issues with certain things, but I can say in an IMAX screen, sitting back, watching this movie, you can be entertained for sure. There are things I'm very picky about that I'm going to talk about, but overall, I can watch this movie. I'm going to go watch it again at least 2 more times in theaters. And one more thing before I get into my negatives, Michael Giacchino, the score, obviously we get our Jurassic Park score, but the music was really good in this movie. Specifically, action scenes, you could feel the music, and I appreciate the music because this franchise always has that great music, and I love hearing it. Now we get into more of my negatives, and for the 3rd time in this Jurassic trilogy, it is the script, and I honestly can tell you, Colin Trevorrow, I'm pretty sure he wrote Jurassic World, and he co-wrote Fallen Kingdom, and he co-wrote this movie with another lady. And I think the script is really bad, especially for what they were setting up in the last movie. For this one to be the conclusion Jurassic finale, it's very anticlimactic if you ask me, especially if you're trying to do a finale to this franchise. I mean, there's some big shoes to fill, but like, what was this? Like this plot line, like there was like 5 different plots. There's a plot in the first 5 minutes, a little action scene, and then like it just happens. Like, okay, we go on to our main stuff now because we have 2 main plots. Our one half plot is this bug, which I won't get into too deep because the trailers don't really show it, but it deals with our OG cast and this bug. And I was like, no. Like, you seriously take away this bug storyline, put dinosaurs in its place? That storyline, way better. When you see the movie, you'll know what I'm trying to say. But it just felt such like a, what are we doing? Like, this is not Jurassic Park at all. Like, I was like, why? Like, put dinosaurs there because we have bugs in our ecosystem, which makes sense because they're coming in, dinosaurs, the whole ecosystem stuff. Makes sense, but like, we don't need to focus on bugs. Just put dinosaurs in that place. With the OG cast being their plot line, it would have been so much better. Then with our new cast, we have this plot line that is basically spy entourage kind of feel, and it fell out of place if you asked me. I was like, are we like doing Mission Impossible here? This is Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, like, dinosaurs. Like, no, we don't need to do all these people kidnapping this person and this baby raptor. Like, no, I understand we need it to get to this ending where they both connect at the very end, but it just felt so out of place. Like, I was like, am I watching there was a time I was sitting there, I was like, am I watching Jurassic Park? Am I watching a Jurassic movie? Like, I actually felt like I wasn't, and that to me is like the worst thing to say in a movie franchise like this, when it completely just feels out of place. Again, at the third act when they're both connecting, I'm fine with it. There's dinosaurs, there's action, they're connecting, they're working together. I'm having fun, that's fine with me. But the first like hour and 40 minutes, going back and forth between plot lines that just bugs that don't matter and spy entourage, bad. And to top it all off, we have some of the worst dialogue in the entire franchise. There is a line where Ellie says, "He slid into my DMs." I cringed. I cringed so hard, guys. I was like, I understand it's 2022 and her character is going through the day of age, but listen, it doesn't sound right to me. And I was like, cringe. No, don't like it. And the first like 30 minutes of this movie, the dialogue is so on point, on predictable note. Like, literally the little girl gets mad at Chris Pratt and Claire, and literally Owen's like, "I'll talk to her." Talks to her, doesn't go well. He says, "Well, that didn't go well. Thanks." Like we didn't know it. There's just little things like that. I'm just like, you're such just like, like this dialogue is not working. Like the first 3 minutes is a, "Hey, previously on Jurassic franchise." No, like they don't just do Jurassic World previously, but they do Jurassic Park. Like it's a complete previously on. I was like, that is just lazy writing to me. Like, we hear people have seen the Jurassic franchise. We don't need a previously on. Now, some people are going to say this new corporation, Biosyn, is just a new dinosaur evil corporation, which, yeah, that is. In this movie, that's what they are. Biosyn's in the book. That's actually a very important thing against InGen. In this movie, it's nothing, which is a completely missed opportunity because, minor spoiler, but it's been advertised, we do get a villain in this movie, and that is Dodson, and obviously, Dodson, we have Dodson here, little thing from the first movie, and in this movie, it's evil bad guy corporation, that's what it is, but in the book, it's actually very important against InGen, like, it's very different things. In this movie, it never gives it time to breathe. Speaking of breathing, the action scenes. Listen, Colin Trevorrow, I have said in the first Jurassic World, does a good job directing. In this movie, there are action scenes that feel very intense. I was like, ooh, I'm gripping my seat. There's one good scene with Claire and a dinosaur in water. Very good scene. The third act, that entire third act was just fun dinosaur mech. Cool action scenes, a really cool finale, especially for the finale of this trilogy. Cool stuff there. All the action scenes, there's never a time to breathe. It's just bam, 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 dinosaur, 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 like plane, crash, on the ice, dinosaur, in the water, bam, in the jungle, dinosaur, T-Rex, fight. Like, no. No. In the original movie, T-Rex out of the cage, attacks the Jeep, gives it time to breathe, gets chased from the T-Rex in the jungle, and then gives it time to breathe. There's none of that in this movie. It's like bam, 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 bam. You have a 2.5 hour movie. Give your action scenes time to breathe, because you have good ones. There's a great one where they're under the, like, in caves. Really good action scene there. Gets right into the next action scene right after that one ends. Overall, Jurassic World Dominion completely feels like a non-Jurassic movie, which is just shameful, if you ask me. Like I said, there is fun in this movie. You can watch it. The OG cast, you love to see them. You can totally be like, their plotline, though, feels so unnecessary that you can honestly argue, why are they even in this movie? It's because it's the finale, they want to bring them back. So I liked seeing them. The new cast, you like the new cast, them working together in the third act, I liked. But this script was horrible. For a Jurassic movie, it felt like a non-Jurassic movie. I can at least say Fallen Kingdom feels very important to this whole series, because how that movie ended with the Jurassic World now happening, for this movie to be 2.5 hours long and to give us probably 15 minutes of dinosaurs with humans on Earth, that's what we wanted to see. You don't really get that at all, which is just completely shocking to me. This entire series has been building to basically dinosaurs being on Earth, probably taking over. And when the movie ends, they kind of wrap things up. And I was thinking for a finale, this is underwhelming to one of the biggest franchises of all time. And it to end like that, I left very disappointed. I'm going to give Jurassic World Dominion a D+. I cannot tell you at this very moment, is this the worst one in the franchise? I can say Jurassic World is better than this movie, and I'm gonna have to see it again, but this one might be worse than Fallen Kingdom if you ask me. And I am completely disappointed in this script. There's stuff to be had fun in this movie that a lot of you are going to have fun with, and I am so happy for you. But as a die-hard Jurassic Park fan, this felt such like a non-Jurassic movie, and that is just, like I said, shameful if you ask me. Missed opportunities too. That is just, oh, so disappointing. Anyway guys, if you guys enjoyed this movie review, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye everyone.